Muli magandang araw, ako po si Eli Saludar.
Ito po ay yung kaibigan, former Secretary Jing Paras. Dito po tayo sa programa Iparas kay Paras. Magandang hapon po mga kababayan.
Ado Paglinaon po ang maestro, nagpupugay sa inyo ng isang magandang araw saan man parte ng mundo kayo naroon.
At siyempre, isa rin sa mainit na issue na pinag-uusapan, ito hong panonood ng concert ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. diyan po sa Philippine Arena sa Bulacan. At siyempre, marami ang naghihimutok dahil sa talagang napaka-traffic lahat apektado. Pero ang Pangulo hindi naapektuhan dahil siya po'y sumakay ng chopper, presidential chopper. Pero may paliwanag din dyan ng PSG, yung safety ang kanilang ikinukonsidera kung kaya nag-chopper ang Pangulo.
Okay, at totoo naman, the PSG, ito ay tinatag para sa pangalan pa lang, Presidential Security Group, ay to protect. Pero the best protection is not to go. Because alam mo naman, very sensitive yung issue. Marami na rin ang naghihimutok, hindi lamang dito sa pagpapanood, kundi sa kanyang travel, sa gutom na inaabot ng taong bayan na hirap silang makabili ng mga pagkain dahil napakamahal. So, ang sinasabi ng karamihan, it's because of the insensitivity. Yung walang pakialam. That pag-usapan nito, sila rin ang concern dapat dito dahil it will add up to their becoming infamous. Ha? Kasi bumagsak na nga. In fact, papakita natin yung bagong survey ng Publicos. Lalong sumadsad ang popularity rating nitong Marcos government. So, ngayon, dadagan mo pa ng galit ang taong bayan, lalong mapapapinsala ang ano. Ito nga, nasana yung galing mismo, ang pagpuna, galing mismo doon sa British na nag-perform ng pinanood nila.
Pinuna ng British rock band na Coldplay ang traffic papunta sa kanilang concert sa Philippine Arena sa harap mismo ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos.
Kagabi, special mention mismo mula kay Coldplay vocalist Chris Martin ang heavygat na traffic na kanyang naranasan.
We'd like to say thank you so much to all of you for coming through the traffic. Holy
Na-videohan pa nga ang nakikonsert din kagabi na si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na tila napahiya sa sinabi ng Coldplay frontman.
We've seen some traffic, but I think you have the number one in the world. So thank you for making it.
Tingnan mo, famous na naman tayo. Kanina, doon sa isang episode, pinakita natin na naging butt of question tayo na the most
Jeopardy.
troubled person, the most troubled head of state. Ito naman, nakita siguro siya ni Coldplay, pinaparinggan siya na, oh shit, what a heavy traffic. It's the worst in the world.
Dahil tsaka nagpasalamat siya sa mga manonood dahil kahit matraffic, nakapunta sila ron.
Pinasalamatan din niya yung presidente na
Pinaringgan.
pinaringgan din niya yung presidente na, sir, dapat nakisama ka sa mga taong bayan mo. You should be one of them.
Parang takip ng tenga.
You should be one of them. Rather than inaalpasan mo ang taong bayan na nagboto sa iyo na maging pangulo ka. Otherwise, you are not there without the people. Diba?
You are in effect destabilizing yourself. So stop looking for destabilizers. Ikaw mismo. By the way, resulta ito, yung sinabi ni Coldplay, resulta ito ng isang international survey. This is not a joke from Coldplay.
Inadlib niya lang dahil sa traffic.
Inadlib niya.
Ibig sabihin, hinabol pa rin sila.
Oo.
Fans.
No, ang sinasabi ni Ado, yung statistics that we are the
Number
most
one. world.
Traffic in the world.
Oh, in the world.
Survey yan eh.
Oo nga,
Sure,
tama.
good.
Pero
Yeah.
dinutong lang yun, inadlib lang. Pero dito sa Secretary James, kasi ikaw matagal ka sa opisyal ng gobyerno, ito, pinag-uusapan kasi yung paggamit ng, ng mga government vehicles. Siyempre, kasama rin siya, presidential, yung helicopter. Meron pa lang Administrative Order number 239
Okay.
na kung saan ay, ito, hawak ko ng Administrative Order, na nilagdaan ito noon ni Pangulong Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. At dito ay nakalagay ito yung para sa prohibiting the use of government vehicles for purposes other than official business and for other purposes. Ito sa section 2 nakalagay, i-interpret mo, Secretary Jinga. The use of government vehicles for private social functions such as receptions, balls, theaters, and for other personal purposes is absolutely prohibited. Likewise, use thereof by the spouses, children, relatives, friends, and the like of the officials entitled thereto, even if they are in the company of said officials, is strictly prohibited.
Well, it just boils down to ignorance. If your leader is ignorant, he does not read the existing regulations, existing laws, it's his loss. Just like the One China policy, hindi niya nabasa, hindi niya nakita. When, alam mo kasi, you have to be sensitive. When you become head of state, you're not expected to read everything, but at least you read the important things, and you should also from time to time get advices or some sort of lectures from those who know, kasi you have to be guided in order to be respectable head of state. Kung wala kang alam talaga, pati yung sarili mong executive order sa Office of the President issued by your predecessor, hindi mo nabasa, talagang you will violate it, di ba? And yung sinasabi ng PSG, it just shows ignorance also. Kasi siguro yung head ng PSG hindi niya nabasa yung memorandum circular ni Gloria Macapagal because he defended it on the pretext that security daw. But ang bottom line, if you are sensitive enough, knowing that your country is poor, knowing that your country needs money, and in fact it's borrowing a lot of money, dapat kung may pagkakataon magtipid ka sa gastos ng useless naman, pwede mo naman panoorin doon sa malaking TV mo sa Malacanang. Pwede mo namang live broadcast doon sa right in your living room. Yung Coldplay, anong difference doon? You will even post disturbance to the people kasi yung mga nanonood, ordinary citizen, papaalisin mo, papaanuhin mo kasi nandyan yung PSG at puprotektahan ka. May mga iba pa dyan, paalisin sa kanilang upuan just to accommodate the security. Di.
Tama.
Dinidisturbo mo pa yung taong bayan. So, it just boils down to insensitivity of this guy. Hindi ako nagda-drugs pero nauutal din ako.
Ang usually kasi, pagka ganyan ka taas ang protocol, there is such a thing as command performance.
Yes.
And you ask the producers of the show, to render the head of state a special performance in Malacanang Palace.
That's exactly what happened to the Beatles.
Oh.
Hindi niya sinusunod yung tatay niya. Hindi pumunta si Marcos doon sa concert ng Beatles. In fact, pinapunta niya yung Malacanang, kaya sa Malacanang, para to have an audience with him.
Yun lang.
Kaya lang, in-ignore siya ng Beatles.
Beatles, oh.
Kaya pinagbabato yung Beatles.
Oh.
Because Marcos then was a very, Marcos Sr. Was a very popular leader. Nag-sympathize yung mga tao, maski very popular din ang Beatles at the time. Nag-sympathize ang tao for disrespecting the president. Hindi sila pumunta.
Naputol tuloy yung nila, schedule.
Oo.
They had to go home.
It was also at the time that the Beatles were saying, we are even more popular than Jesus Christ. Because that was really the height of the Beatles,
Yung sa Bicol, sino ba yung pinalayas ng governor? Hindi, sa concert, local naman na nagko-concert yung banda.
Si
River Maya ba yun? So, parang ganun pinalayas dahil pinag-governor si Col, hindi sila bumaba ng ng sasakyan.
So, yun na. So, hindi niya ginaya yung tatay niya na mayroong protocol. Hindi ka makihalo sa taong bayan. Okay lang sana makihalo ka, you will be on the level with them. But kung ipapairal mo yung high and mighty, siyempre magagalit ang tao niya. Kasi alam nila, marami nakakaalam doon sa binasa ni Eli na rules and regulations na bawal yan. Pangalawa, alam ng taong bayan na naghihirap sila pero nilulustay mo yung pera sa helicopter. Mahal-mahal ng helicopter Hindi lang isa yung
Gasolina.
helicopter na
Yung fuel.
Ibinabait ko yung
Nakamahal ng fuel.
Pinalayas sa Sorsogon.
Yan even foreign news. Ipakita natin yung foreign news.
Moving on to the Philippines, where President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has sparked a huge controversy for using presidential chopper in order to attend Coldplay's concert in the capital, Manila. Now, as the row escalated over the usage of the helicopter, the president's security group issued a detailed statement that said that the venue experienced unexpected influx of 40,000 attendees, resulting in unforeseen traffic complications. The statement further read that the PSG took decision keeping potential threat to the president's security in mind. But President Marcos continues to draw flack on social media platforms. Facebook users criticized the usage of official resources and called it an abuse of power for personal activities. Users questioned the payment of Coldplay's concert tickets as well. Philippines First Lady Liza Marcos has also shared the picture of attending the British rock band's concert at the Philippine Arena.
We are becoming infamous. Hindi famous but becoming infamous all over the world for indiscretion of our leader. Kaya kung nalagay man in the past na maganda yung Philippines nalagay sa mapa, ngayon nalagay tayo sa mapa not for the good things but for the bad things that's happening. And that is suntok sa bawat Pilipino. Di ba? Paring Ado? Anong masasabi mo, Paring Ado?
Well, yun nga hindi ko maintindihan dito. Drama ng drama ng nationalism dito sa karagatan sa kanluran. At pinaniniwala tayo na ang soberanya natin ang pinaka-importante. Pero sa mga simpleng bagay na ganito, kung saan siya dapat lumibel sa interes ng taong bayan na naghihirap, ay hindi siya makarelate. So, I think this is more than insensitivity. I think this is abuse of power. Masyado, taas na. Magkano ngayon ang fuel? By the way, hindi lang 2 chopper ang ginamit dito, Meron pa black chopper na parang security na, profligacy. Hindi ko rin, nauutang din ako profligacy. Yan ang mga ngayon mga pagpuna. So sa ganyang karaming pagpuna ay huwag na kayong magtuturo sa mga tao na talagang nag-express lamang ng kanilang mga sentimiento at saka freedom of speech, no? Para kayo ay batikusin because you are public figures.
And this brings us to the new survey by Publicos. kung insensitive ka, kung pinupuna ka ng taong bayan, not for the good things, but for the bad things that you're doing, then that reflects on your performance. Ito po, i-share lang natin itong bagong survey on the performance of the administration and its leader. Ito po.
Why did support for the Marcos administration dip in the last quarter of this year?
Well, Rico, first, you have to check certain questions asked prior to that question. One of which is how they rated the economy, what are the top issues in the country, and in terms of the household, what matters to them. So in terms of the top issues that respondents voted, most of them are actually economic. The top 5 refers to the economy, to the price or inflation, to corruption, to poverty, to jobs. That's a total of a staggering 63%. So, lahat ng mga respondent, particular sila sa nangyayari sa economy. But when you drill it down to the household, it's all about survival. That's finding employment, not being able to afford basic commodities,
Right.
losing your job, not getting enough pay, and buying basic commodities. That's a total of 60%. So yung shift from I'm sorry.
So
the shift from the pro-Marcos to undecided to anti, you will see that the undecided is growing more and more, whether from pro-administration or pro-opposition.
So Manu,
I'm concerned with the data because you are seeing that the base of the Marcos vote, when they started, is slowly shrinking and is shifting to undecided. They are not jumping to the opposition because the opposition is not clear. Who is the opposition? Who represents the opposition? So most of them are in the undecided part, in that Likert scale. I see in NCR and NCR, Southern Luzon, a little percentage in North Central Luzon. And North Central Luzon is telling because that is the baluarte of the president.
and in the numbers, no, you mentioned specifically economic concerns, including price inflation, joblessness, low wages, and a perceived lack of productivity that has led to the dissatisfaction, disappointment with the Marcos administration. What about the confidential fund issue, which, I mean, was front and center in major publications in the last 4 months of this year? Did this also have an impact?
That had an impact on the ratings, on the approval rating of the vice president. In fact, 44% were saying it is an issue for them and it has affected the performance rating of the vice president. When you go to the president, it's all inflation, 44%. So, ang nakakahila ng performance rating ng Pangulo is the economy. Ang nakakahila kay vice president is the CF.
But
so clearly, it has been affected.
All right, it's the economy that's pulling down, no, the president's popularity.
The economy is stupid.
What about the president and how he's engaging with China on this West Philippine Sea issue, or the president making dozens of trips overseas to attract foreign investments, foreign pledges that will create jobs for our kababayans? Didn't this also help in his popularity?
On the China issue, it is not the top issues that put down the ratings of the president. On the investment, the pledges, that is too intricate and complicated for everyone to understand. And I guess part of the problem is the inability of this administration to really communicate. What have we received from the so many visits? I think 17 already. And what are really direct investments that are new companies, joint ventures being done?
All right. When Marcos Jr. and Sara Duterte ran for president and vice president in May of 2022, it was under a unity ticket. Is it also affecting their popularity that there are a lot of intramurals happening now between the party of the president and the vice president's party? Is this also affecting their popularity?
Oh, definitely, Rico. People do not see a united team already. It used to be that one rating of say the vice president or the president, vice versa, actually tried to help each other in the early rounds of in the early quarters of this year. But today we see a different political terrain where there's enough muscle being done to demolish the vice president.
Oh.
And on the other hand, there's not enough effective communication that you get from the president.
And briefly, what about the Duterte effect? How influential is the former vice president still in this administration? Because there are some sectors discrediting the previous administration.
Well, she has the vice president has the top trust rating from among the top 5 officials of the country. When you call about Duterte effect, the former president landing number 1 in the senatorial preference or predisposition is telling. It sends the signal to everyone that, hey, they're not the spent force.
We're just showing the feelings of Filipino. Ang number 1 talaga, yung ekonomiya. And ito po, maraming interrelated issues. One of that is pagtaghirap ng tao. Bakit? Kulang ng pera. Na pambili ng pagkain. Saan napunta ang pera ng bayan? Kasi they were not as poor as in the last administration, di ba? Ngayon, in the last administration, walang ganung presyo na 60 pesos, 70 pesos na bigas. Hindi umabot ng 700 ang presyo ng onion in the last administration. So, ito po ay napipil ng taong bayan ngayon. So, anong masasabi nyo in terms of yun, sa mga nakakausap nyo, sa mga ordinary people? What is their reaction? Does it relate to the survey conducted by the Publicos?
Well, sa akin, hindi naman masyadong malaki ang aking household. Pero 2,000 a week, kulang na ngayon. No? At para sa akin, sariling gastos, yung 1,000 isang araw, kulang na rin. Hindi katulad nun, no? Na-stretch ko pa yung si Ninoy Aquino at saka si Cory Aquino. Yung 500 pesos. At saka may balita ako sa inyo, ako'y nahuli. Ako'y nahuli. At tinutokso ko ng yelo ayaw pat ba, humihirit pa So, hindi ko na lang binigyan. Sabi ko, tikitan nyo na lang ako.
Actually, that's very true, ha?
Pati yung law enforcement,
Really
apektado.
rampant corruption also, again, in the street. In fact, one friend of mine, kababalik lang from abroad, isang lady, married to a foreigner, but she came home. Nahuli siya. Imbis na sabi niya, 1.5 ang hiningi. Binigyan daw niya ng 100 muna. Hindi na pala obra ang 100 ngayon sa mga corrupt na mga enforcers. Tapos, she offered again 500. Ma'am, pumasok ka sa one way, ang rate namin dyan 1.5.
Meron na silang taripa.
So,
Kasi dahil sa inflation.
dahil sa inflation.
Pati corruption nag-inflate.
Pati pagsalap ng pera from corrupt people has also increased their pangangailangan. Kasi sinishare yan. Itong mga enforcers daw, may mga boss yan na na nagbibigay din yan sila down to the highest enforcer.
So, mahal ng pagkain
So, paring Eli, anong masasabi mo, paring Eli?
Ayun pero pinakamatindi talaga, yung sentimiento sa pagkalata ng taong bayan, yung inflation. Siguro ito po yung talaga tutukan ng ating gobyerno At sa katunayan, ngayong araw na ito,
Oh,
ay tumaas na naman yung presyo ng produktong petrolyo.
yes.
At mula noong January 1 hanggang ngayon, January 23, ay 160 na yung net na increase
Wow.
sa diesel at sa gasolina.
Accumulating, ha?
Tatlong linggo na sunod-sunod eh.
Yeah.
Third week na yan.
And the Department of Energy has nothing, sabi nila, they're regulated. Although, if they are really active, if this, Secretary of the Department of Energy is really an active, he's not cooperating with the cronies, but instead, he's cooperating with the people, baka may mangyari pa. Pero, ang mga pinapaboran, mga cronies, can you imagine, malampaya, it should be bidded this year kasi mag-expire na yung Service Contract 38, ni-recommend na i-extend ni Marcos for another 15 years, thereby profiting the Pacman. Can you imagine that, mga kababayan?
In favor of privatization.
Yes.
Oo.
Cronyism is number one. That's why, yun po ang resulta, naghirap ang taong bayan, pataas naman ang payaman ang mga cronies. Ha?
So, lumalaki yung gap, yung agwat.
Yeah.
Na
Only in
mayaman
this
at
administration.
Oh,
Only this
at
administration.
this has also affected the Philippine charity sweepstakes.
Yeah.
Kasi ang sinasabi, ang losses daw ngayon ng receipts is 100 million a day. So, kukunti na rin ang tumataya.
Yes.
Either way.
Lalo na dito na sabi ng taong bayan, kung lutong Macau yan, yung pinapanalo, hindi naman talaga galing sa amin na tumataya, but minamanipulate, baka by next month, lugi na talaga yan. Pero,
Lotong Macau, Lotong Macau.
pero paano naman liligwakin yan? Yun mismo nga ang naglagay, ay yun pa ang nag-greet ng happy birthday. At may plano silang maging milyonaryo. Paano naman titino yung tao na yan na nandyan sa PCSO, kung ang backer ay gusto maging milyonaryo siya. Di ba? I mean,
Teka, na-verify ba natin kung meron talagang umalis papunta Germany?
so
Baka may baon yun.
New York. Punta daw din ng New York at LA.
Oo.
Ha? Di ba? At saka Germany, nagdeposito daw. That's according
Well,
to
verify pa natin.
Marlica.
Di ba pag ganun, di naman pwede magdala ng cash? 10,000 na yun, dollars. Di ba? Paano makapag-deposit yun?
Well, alam mo, these people are masters of manipulation. So, maraming ways of doing.
Kaya kung pagpupunta nga US,
Baka
nadala ko lang 9,900.
kasi
Pesos.
10,000 bawal eh.
Hindi, pesos. Hindi, dollars yung bawal eh.
Baka electronic transmission. Ha?
So, mga kababayan, kung mayroong Smartmatic sa ating Comelec, bago na ito. Mayroon ding Smartmatic na ngayon sa PCSO. Yun po ang gusto nating malaman kay Pimentel at kay Tulpo, at sana sumama naman si Ginang Aimee kasi siyang nag-i-expose nitong PCSO sa Kabulastugan. Okay?
Okay,
So,
maraming salamat.
magandang hapon po.
Thank you.